Welcome, welcome. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
It's been, just because of the randomness of the schedule this year, we have not met. This is, what, 3 weeks?
Yes.
Did everyone survive? Do you have, are there scratch marks on your doors and walls because you just were going through Toastmaster withdrawal? No?
He was, it was a great
Yeah.
vacation. You got to take everybody home.
All right, well, it's a new year, 2019, and we're off to a roaring start. Do we have any guests today? No, but we have our loyal members. We are here Tuesday evening. It's now, we're running a little bit late, 7:50. We meet here every Tuesday evening at 7:45 till 9 o'clock. And we invite all visitors to come and check us out and bring your shopping list so that you can do shopping afterwards. Yes, Mr. Cameraman, you look,
Do we have a timer?
there is a blank for the timer. Okay. Great. You know, I just want to applaud right now people who step up like that, just flexible. Here we go. People who like it. That's what Toastmasters gives you. It gives you a lot of flexibility. All right, with that, we're going to try a little different format tonight, just slightly, with our Toastmaster evaluator role. You'll see how it is, and Veda would like to try it, and so we're going to let him do that. So without further ado, I'm going to invite up Veda Royale for our Toastmaster role.
You just want to use this hammer. But it's already been done. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Madam President. Tonight we have an exciting meeting. The theme is the comfort zone. And the quote is, "Discomfort may be a doorway. Don't run from it." By Joseph Deitch. So to get right into it, I'm going to introduce the role players. The first role player is the timer. That's Hudaifa. Could you please explain your role and the timing amounts for tonight I could help you with?
Thank you very much. My role today is to count time for each one stands there, except you. We have a speaker today. Her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the green light will be on at 5, and then amber at 6, and the red light is at 7 minutes, and then you have 30 seconds to wrap up. And then we have also table topics. For each one, there is 1 to 2 minutes to complete the speech. Green light will be at 1, amber at 1:30, and red at 2 minutes. And there is also 30 seconds to wrap up. Finally, we have, or not finally, we have a speech evaluator. And it's 2 to 3 minutes also. I think for both, right? Even for the table topics evaluator, it's 2 to 3.
We'll have a decision about the table topics depending on how long it is. It is listed as 3 to 5 minutes, but sometimes we shorten it if there's only a few.
Okay, because I don't think we have enough time for many speakers.
It's usually the same amount of time unless we have a lot of speakers.
Okay, it will be 2 to 3, so 2, green at 2, amber at 2.5, and red at 3, and there is also the evaluator has 30 seconds to wrap up. But there is, I think, speaker can complete in less than 2 minutes, right?
A minimum of 1 minute.
Minimum at 1. Okay, it's not like the other speakers. They have to.
Yeah, they have to.
And I will give a report in the end of the meeting. Thank you.
tonight our grammarian is Dan Craig. Could you come up, please, Dan, and give your role?
My first role, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. My first role tonight is to give you the word of the day. It is replete, an adjective, means completely filled, full, amply equipped. Example sentences: the country's history is replete with the stories of people who became successful by working hard. I'll keep track of everyone that uses the word replete and give a report at the end of the meeting. My other role is to listen to the language that's used during the meeting today, take note of especially good phrases or uses of language, and also to note if there's anything that may need a correction. And I'll give my report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. Our next role is the yacht counter, which is Dee Stauffer. Could you please raise in place and explain your role and point the camera to the camera?
So the yacht counter's role is to help the person understand that the flow of the speech is better if you do not keep saying and using words like and like, clicks. It allows for a better flow of speech, more coherence, and better speech. Okay?
The next couple of roles will be filled later by Hy-Vee as the general evaluator, and the greeter and joke master tonight is Janet Evertson. I'd like to welcome up Jean to read the objective of our first speaker, which is Carmen.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Carmen is doing, it's the second speech in the section of the first level of pathways where she takes evaluation comments and suggestions from a first version of the speech and applies those criteria to a second speech. She can do the same speech again, and we look for those particular pieces. I'll tell you those in just a moment. Or she can do a different speech, but still focusing on those key elements that came out in the evaluation when she did her first speech. Carmen has shared with me she's going to be looking to refine her vocal variety, her eye contact, and her gestures. A little more dynamism. And I will be watching for all of those, and we wish Carmen well. And I'll hand it back over to our Toastmaster. I am going to suggest we need clapping here, so when you know when it's time, give it your all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Our clap master, thank you.
Yes, clap master.
I'm
Sorry.
going to have a present for you next week in that regard. So I have a special clapping device which I've discovered.
Oh, okay.
Carmen is a resident of Fairfield. She has lived here for just 1.5 years, so she's a very new member, but a very dedicated member, and she's done really well to give speeches. She has a biology degree, and she works in a laboratory. Please help me welcome Carmen to give her speech called Extinction. Carmen Anticona Extinction. Please welcome her.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. Since I was a child, I became familiar with the word extinction. At the age of 7, there were an announcement in the news that the panda bears were becoming extinct. So that means that really, really soon, they are gonna be eliminated. At that age, the only thing that I could think is why the adults do nothing to just save this species. Even as a fluffy toy like this is so cute and so lovely. And I didn't understand why the adult people or why the people around the world, they did nothing to just save this lovely species. So today I'm going to talk about the extinction of the species on Earth and how we can help them to stop this extinction. There has been 5 major extinctions on Earth. From those 5, the 4th one is the one that led to the dinosaur, which is the one that we already know. All these extinctions has been done due to geological events, such as increase in rise levels, asteroid collision on Earth, or maybe a volcano eruption. But now the scientists are announcing that we are in an era of the 6th extinction. And why? Because right now we are losing a species, about 200 species every single day. In 100 years, rainforests will be vanished. So 80% of the land animals on Earth will be eliminated. And this is not due to geological events as before. This is right now our mainly responsibility. So what we can do to help is difficult, I know, but it's not impossible. Right now, we have to spread the word to everyone. We have to communicate that this crisis is really something that is so important. We have to spread that to our family, to our community, co-workers, and we have already a social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter can help us to do so. Also, little things such as recycling or walking instead of driving is gonna help us to do that. Also, we should eat less meat. Already there is some people that it's eaten not a lot. I know that in Fairfield. But it's because when we eat meat, we are just trying to make more space or more land to the livestock in order to get feed. But instead of giving those land, we have to just take into consideration that that land can be used by human population in order to get feed. So also we should vote, and we should have governors or people in power that help us to conserve nature, that help us to do something about environment. At the same time, we can even adopt a species, and that one is made through public institutions like zoo or like any conservation places. So you can look on the web and you are gonna see that there are a lot that you can even put a little bit of money and then it's gonna do a lot of things for the threatened species on Earth. This issue has not been due to such an events that are so rapidly. It came in decades, it came after centuries. So now, in order to bring back all the threatened species to health, it's gonna take decades. And that's for sure. We are in a crisis right now. So a couple years ago, I remember that there was an announcement on the news that said that the panda bear were not longer an endangered species. Now it's vulnerable, which means that from 200 members of panda bears, right now there are 1,000. So if we did it with the pandas, we can do it with all the animals, actually. But we need every single one of us to do this job. This one is taking a lot of effort, not only for one country, but for the whole world. And we are right now trying to save lands, animals, and forests, not just because it's only our responsibility, but also because it's our survival on this planet. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Carmen, for that thoughtful speech. Please take 2 minutes to evaluate the speech, and please timer time 2 minutes. Yes. So we continue our evening of Toastmasters. I'd like to ask the timer if the speech was qualifying as the only speaker, as the speech would be the best speaker. Did the speech qualify within the time?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. So now I'll be calling up the evaluator for Carmen, Mrs. Jean Symington Craig. Please help me welcome Jean.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and particularly Carmen. Wow. That was the best speech I've heard you give since you've been in the club. I'm very impressed. Excellent vocal variety, and her speech was replete with gestures. Let me remind you of some of the highlights. She didn't use any filler words that I could hear. She sometimes started sentences out with so. She could have said therefore, but minor. Within her sentences, she had very good use of pauses. She would make a statement, trying to see, we should vote, pause. And she was moving slowly enough that her words were very clear, even with that little bit of an accent. It was very easy to understand, actually easier. So you really were focused on that. I was very impressed with that. Her gestures were, I kept trying to go, okay, am I a red light already?
No.
Okay,
This is all.
okay. Her gestures, she had rising sea levels and then volcanoes. She had all of these different gestures that she was going. I mean, I was trying to keep up with them, and I had my little sign language that I do for gestures, and I just gave up because she was talking about walking, and she started walking, and then she came back. it was very dynamic. And that was one of your objectives. I thought it was, you were about 2.5 times larger than you normally are in terms of your taking up your presence on the stage. I think another piece that I really liked was it said interest. It engaged the audience with interesting, well-constructed content. I do like that she used some facts and figures, numbers, percentages, 80%. She had facts to support her comments. That added to her credibility. I also liked that her conclusion referred back to her beginning. She had the cute little panda. Of course, everybody zoned in on the cute panda. And then at the end, she talked, and she had a little personal story about seeing news about pandas. And that, I think, was very effective, bringing that in. Really well done there. I think, I'm just gonna say, the one area that I would say she could continue to work on, and it's a hard one, is looking people in the eyes for the eye contact. I find it hard myself. You know, it's like, whoop, lost my train of thought. Try to deliver one point to one person, get into their eyes, and then move to another person and deliver it to their eyes and into the, and that way you're gonna get really some good connection. Also, if I were gonna challenge you, I could say you could address in a short way people who would say, well, why should I care about species becoming extinct? Why does it matter? Because you want to, if you want people to act, you have to give them a reason why they should. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. So just a quick question, were you able to get a timing of that evaluation? Were you able to get a timing? I know you're under double roles. Were you able to? You were able, okay, great. So we'll ask for that later. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce the Table Topics Master for this evening, Janet Evertson. Please welcome Janet Evertson. How many do we have time for tonight?
We have about a half an hour. We'll see how many.
Okay,
No,
great.
no,
Thank you,
we're
Janet.
we're not doing half an hour table.
No, so
Not half
it's
an
what
hour.
the agenda calls for.
Well, you just tell me when we're out of time.
We need to do a little bit, I
Right.
think we need to do a little bit of
I got
business.
I got quite a few.
Thinking.
Yeah.
8:33.
Make some up.
Let's see, where are we?
Yeah, that's not correct.
I think
We
we
have
have
about-
16 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
20
Okay.
minutes, my mistake.
All right, let's
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
and
All
roll.
right,
20 minutes.
let's do that one.
Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at
So we
home.
started late.
We're starting the table topics. I have worked with the theme, the comfort zone, and I'm ready for my first brave volunteer. Ron, come on up. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna read them here from my phone. What does the comfort zone mean to you in terms of your professional life?
Fellow Toastmasters, guests at home, my profession. I had a profession once, then I got sick, and it went on for a number of years, and now I'm medically retired, and the question is, what is my new profession? I hate to say the same things over and over again, because I know you've heard many of the things I've said before, but I had a little conversation with God. Well, not it was God said something to me and I just listened. That's kind of how it works out. But he said simply, here's your life mission. And this is now my new profession. Be nice to people and help them if you can. And I thought, wow, geez, that's great. Because I was getting ready for, okay, in the Marine Corps, Sterling, all the different things I've gone through, all the tests. I was expecting, okay, climb the Himalayas in your gym shorts or something like that. Oh, be nice to people and help them if you can. What a great profession. And when I think about it, I start laughing. I love it. For the first time, we've always been told that, you know, if you find that thing that you love and you wake up in the morning and you're excited to get up, jump out of bed, go for it. I got it now. discomfort, I have a tremendous amount of discomfort. In fact, I can't sleep at night, it's so intense, but I have tricks. And when it gets really intense, I do some of my tricks, I'll spare you the details, but all of a sudden I start laughing. I've had so much discomfort, it's like, whatever. And you know what you do with discomfort? You jump in with, you just teeth and claws and go into it. If the tricks don't work, then just go head on to it. Because it is there for a reason. It's something that we put in our own way, we finally tripped into it, and you can go, oh, why me? Why not you? Why not? We all put out stuff and it comes back to us. We've heard that before. So we deal with it. So in our professional life, whatever that profession is, we want to deal with discomfort as the opportunities that truly are presented to us. Because if we can work our way through it, we will be a bigger and better, more effective person on the other end. If we take the shortcut and wheedle around and blame it on somebody else like that, we don't really go anywhere. And the years go by and we're the same old person, which is nice. However, the good one has a bigger plan than us just doing the same thing over and over again until we die. Embrace discomfort, but avoid it if you can. I'm there.
Okay, who is our next brave soul? Warm me up there.
My hands are cold.
I love to warm hands. Okay. Now, let's find you a good one here. Whoa, this will be good. How would you explain the comfort zone with regard to your financial life?
That's
Those are
easy.
good jokes on
Yeah.
Auntie. We're ready. Thank you.
How would I describe my comfort zone in my financial life? Probably if I hadn't moved to Fairfield and stayed in California, but I had a great job and a great career. Financially, as many of you probably know, Fairfield can be a very interesting place to live, to have a business. Now, I have a business, as you all know. I'm a Pilates instructor, and I do a lot of good for a lot of people. On the other side of that, a lot of times people here don't have the financial well-being to pay California or New York or Chicago fees. So this, in terms of comfort zone, is something that I get to deal with on a daily, weekly basis. You know, if enough money comes in, you have bills to pay. So this is a challenge emotionally for myself and probably a number of people here as well, right? And of course, one of the ways in which you can deal with this is through anger. You know, you're angry. And so if you keep the anger in, it'll fester and you'll get, you know, medical conditions. And then you go to the doctor and you have more things you can get angry about. So you have to figure out a way to deal with it, which I do from time to time. And also because of my profession, I'm able to get rid of a lot of the stress and discomfort by doing what it is I do. And also because of my profession, I get to watch people be in pain when they're doing certain exercises. And I get a lot of joy from that. Yeah.
Schadenfreude.
Is that right?
Schadenfreude. Yes, I can speak personally.
Okay, who's our next volunteer? I got a really good one. Anyone can do it. Tempted? Do I have any takers? We'll give you 10 more seconds. Jean, thank you. Could you tell us about a way that you could stay in the comfort zone and still grow and change in a big way? It's a tricky one, actually. You had a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and viewers at home. I don't have to think very long about that question. It's exercise. I have to exercise. That keeps me in my comfort zone. As long as I can exercise, as long as I can go work my body in some way so that I feel different than I did the day before, I feel set in a progressive mindset that I can actually, oh, I feel different today than I did yesterday, and now I can do new things. I'm not stuck. The flip side is when I can't exercise, like you all remember when my hand was messed up, or maybe I sprained my ankle, I feel stuck in mud. And in a way that I'm not moving and challenging myself, but I am very uncomfortable. So for me to accomplish, and be in my comfort zone and still make significant changes, I have to be able to work out and feel that new body every day. And then I'm just happy. I'm happy as a clam, as my mom would say. Are clams happy? I always try to say clams, Mom, are not happy or unhappy. They're just clams. But that's a saying, happy as a clam. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay,
On the agenda.
Anybody else excited about coming up here and trying the next question?
Come on, get out of your
One
comfort
of the
zone.
similar ones.
Get out of your comfort zone. Go for it, Peter.
Otherwise, I'm gonna take it.
Hudaifa,
I have tools.
you know, it's called getting out of your comfort zone.
I could take,
He's already out.
oh, okay, I could take it back.
Okay, Veda,
Veda?
I guess I'm it.
okay.
You can do it. Would you like to answer the question Jean had, or would you like a new one?
A new one.
Okay. What prevents one from wanting to leave their comfort zone? Do you have any advice for those that feel that way?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes.
And a little louder.
What prevents one from wanting to leave the comfort zone? You know, like you just don't want to leave it. What is preventing that? Do you have any advice for people who feel that way?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for this challenging question. I've tended to stay in my comfort zone unless forced out my entire life. I was born in a comfortable place. It's called the mother's womb. Evidently, I was 2 weeks late. I popped out like a banshee. And I went, ah! But luckily I grew up in a great family and we had an easy life for me. I was treated like a prince. I was waited on practically hand and foot. I had a kind of a nanny who I inherited. My mother's nanny got inherited into our family. So I got to be in my comfort zone. And I think that I had to strive to push myself out of the comfort zone. And I waited until about 5th grade to do that. And I changed schools so no one would know that I just used to sit there and do nothing at all for the first 4 grades, but they knew I was smart. And I said, I'm going to work really hard this year and prove myself and not get that reputation to stick. So I think the answer to getting out of your comfort zone is to think about what life is really about for you. And wait for a time that won't give you too much stress, because that's counterproductive if we're just stressing ourselves. Staying happy, but wait for that time. And then make the decision, make a conscious decision to go forward and multiply. So multiply your talents, as the Bible saying can be adapted to. So that's my answer, Madam Toastmaster.
Tabletop.
Tabletop Toastmaster.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay, it looks like we have time for one more. Now I was looking for my joke, so I lost one. There it is. Okay, I'm gonna volunteer to take the topic that I gave Jean. If that's all right with everyone?
Sure.
Invite me for it, okay? Could you tell us about a way you can stay in the comfort zone and still grow and change in a big way? Well, from my experience, I feel no. You really do have to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. How much you do that is up to you. You can vary that based on your comfort level, how you're feeling. There's a variety of ways you can decide, but if you never, ever, ever push yourself out of your comfort zone, you're probably not going to do much or grow much. So I believe you have to take a chance. Just like the mother bird throws her babies out of the nest when she feels they're ready. They are out of their comfort zone. They're panicking. They're not happy. But they find their little wings from that. So I just think that's a good example of how the comfort zone has to be pushed in order for growth to take place. That was a good story I just came up with. And in my life, I do that, and what I find is I have to balance how much discomfort do you want? And where is it time to just stay home and watch Netflix and not worry about a thing? And that's another important part of life, is to find that balance, to push yourself just enough for your speed at that moment, and then maybe reel it back in when you need to hibernate and regroup. Thank you. Janet. Okay. Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you. Janet, I know how much you have to get out of your comfort zone to come up with those great topics, as I know it was been a big week for you in a lot of ways. So now I'll be asking the timer to mention to read the list of the disqualified first, and then the qualified.
Just the qualified,
Disqualified.
just the qualified.
Please read the list of the qualified.
Is always gives authenticity to a speech, and again helps hold the audience interest. It's a personal experience. At the end, you gave the audience a certain amount of kidding, saying that you really did enjoy the pain that your clients were undergoing. And Jean corroborated you, so there was nothing really to criticize about that. As long as everybody got the joke, at least. Jean, you engaged with the audience and told them what your passion is to keep yourself on an even keel exercise. And gave examples of how you felt when it was working, when you could work, and that it was, you told us your personal experience again. I can relate to it. I think the rest of us could too. Veda, what keeps people from leaving the comfort zone? You basically, I heard you say, you know, a nice strong exposition of your childhood, how it was charmed, it was always pretty comfortable, and you had people to keep you on your even keel. I liked the idea of what you eventually did to say, okay, I'm leaving the comfort zone. I'm through with that. I'm going to try to pick up the pace a little bit academically. I didn't quite catch whether you actually succeeded at that, and you may not have mentioned it. I would have been interested to know. But you did give a good wrap up of why you did it and how it, you know, how it went for you. And again, speaking from experience, like the others, it was good. I don't have improvements that I can suggest. And Janet, finally, you were the first one to say you have to push yourself out of the comfort zone. You've got to do this. We, and by implication, we have to do that. And I thought, yeah, I guess we do. It's good for us if we do. And I suppose at the risk of philosophizing, I could say that life will take care of that if we don't do it for ourselves. Thank you all for a very good round of speeches.
Thank you, Peter, for that great evaluation of everyone. And now I'm going to ask the timer for the conclusion of which evaluators qualified.
I have Jean qualified, Peter is not qualified.
Thank you.
Oh, see,
Went too long?
see that, a lot to say.
A good experiment. Tonight is a night of experiments. So next I'm going to be calling up our esteemed general evaluator, Mr. Pradaifa Shetnawi.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. No, that's fine for me. I have notes. Sorry. I will start with calling back all our role players for tonight to hear from them their reports, and I will start with myself as a timer. Hi. Okay, we had one speaker tonight, Carmen, and she spent 7 minutes, 22 seconds. And for table topics, Ron, 230 plus a couple of milliseconds. B, 146. Jean, 136. Veda, 207. And Janet, 130. I don't know why all talks or table topics today, they are short, right? And for speakers, speech evaluators, Jean, 325, and Peter, 411. Thank you. Okay, it's for you now. I will follow you in the camera. Okay? Dan Craig to give his grammarian. Yeah, this meeting was replete with speakers.
Yay, all right.
So in the Hy-Vee sweepstakes, the replete sweepstakes, we have Hy-Vee, Jean, and Peter. Anybody else? Here are a few interesting phrases that I heard during the evening. When Carmen was speaking, she said, we're in an era of a sixth extinction. We need every single one of us to do this job. Jean said, when I can't exercise, I feel stuck in the mud. She also said regarding happy clams, clams are not happy or unhappy, they are just clams. Ron said in his table topic, I had a little conversation with God, and God said, this is your life's mission. Dee said you can go to the doctor and get some more things you can get angry about. Veda said I had to strive to push myself out of the comfort zone. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
And a counter,
Yeah.
Mr. D.
Yes. This is Carmen. Carmen, I think, did her speech great. She had one ah, two so's, and two buts.
What about everybody else?
Huh?
What about everybody else?
I just did it for the prepared speech, I thought.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Everybody.
I thought it was just for the prepared
I
speech.
was waiting.
Perfect.
Everybody else was perfect.
We're a little rusty after the holidays.
I just want to remind you that the counter start his speech with so.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's false start.
I know.
Okay. And we have greeter or joke master now.
All right.
You have a joke or?
I have something, yes.
Okay.
I looked up some bad puns for you tonight in my
Upon my word.
30-second break that I got today. Okay, ready? These are bad. How much money does a pirate pay for corn?
For corn?
Corny,
A buccaneer.
a buccaneer.
Oh, corn.
Okay, there's more. Don't worry.
Corn.
Corn. See,
Fuck,
oh,
corn.
I know. You said it was porn? I thought you said.
Corn.
Don't want an X-rated video here.
I had to really skim through them. There's only a few reasonable ones here. Thanks to Reader's Digest. Time on my side, okay. I was going to, no, that's a bad one. It's like so bad. I can go bad, but I can't go that bad, okay. Did you hear about the auto body shop that just opened? It comes with a highly recommended credit. Yeah, that's a bad pun. It's wrecked with the W.
Oh, Rick.
I was gonna skip that one originally. One more. Let me, oh, this one, this is cute, little one. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo?
Hippo and a dippo?
Zippo.
Zippo. The one's
One's-
lighter and one's
one's-
heavier.
Very good, Dee, you win the prize. Hippo is really heavy and a zippo is a little lighter.
Oh, okay. That's
Thank you for telling me those
Did I get a prize for that?
You do. We haven't figured out what it is yet.
It's my turn.
An ear of corn.
Okay, so 3 to 4.
We should have subtitle here somewhere to understand these jokes.
We'll have a seminar after.
Yeah. Action. For tonight we had 2 evaluators. I will only focus on evaluating evaluators. So Jean, fellow Toastmasters, I don't have to greet you again and again because it's my. But I think Jean forget to greet us, right? So she only focused on Carmen. She was surprised with her speech, so she forget about us. Even I was sitting there back.
Crying.
Crying. Nobody looked at me. She gave good suggestion to Carmen about eye contact, and she explained for her how to simply want to look at each one with her eyes for moments. But in general, she praised her for all good points in her speech, for gestures, and she even explained how gestures were good, and praise for poses, praise for no filler words, and praise for facts that she used in her speech. The other evaluator tonight was Peter. Peter gave very brief evaluation for each one, but in these evaluations, or last time we said we should say he should, right? We don't have to say you have to do, he has to do.
Softer.
Yeah, softer, yeah. So Peter has to maybe give more clear suggestion for each one. And sometimes you can start with the suggestion before the praise, so the praise will cover any treats that you make or broken hearts. And also, you want to, or I will praise you for your vocal variety when you speak or when you repeat some of their speeches or quotes. That was my brief evaluation for the evaluators tonight, and I will get back to Toastmaster, Mr. Veda. Give you prizes.
I feel like I'm gonna open up the Cracker Jack box here and give out the prizes. The little whistle was my favorite. So tonight, before I give out the awards, just my conclusion is it's been an experimental evening, and also we've gotten to think about comfort and discomfort. So I think it's all in the theme that we did a little bit of experiment. I think we were very successful. It's an excellent meeting. Thank you for everyone. So now we'll be giving out, some of them will be, let's just do one drum roll for everybody because there's only a little suspense here. So the first is for the best speaker, definitely best speaker tonight, Carmen. And let me mention, she'll be electronically commended on the new electronic computerized system also, in some way, which I'm not familiar with. Next, we are going to have a double header. For Best Evaluator and Best Table Topics, we have Jean.
Practice our little poses, thank you.
Yes. So that will conclude. I always want to use this. I think we have those two gavels. We should be able to. So that concludes my role as Toastmaster. And I will welcome back Miss Jean Symington Craig for the closing.
Ron?
A little bit less than 1 minute to address the group. It's
Okay,
kind of pressing, it's my only chance.
okay. You wanna come up?
You may have noticed the little yellow dots. Each one of those is Golden Speakers. We've been the #1 ruling club in Iowa. Was it 85 clubs? We've been able to get, this travels. If you don't meet the criterion, it has to go somewhere else. What we would do, Tom and Cindy Trainer, we're here for a long time, and we developed this format, this procedure to how to help the club grow. All social organizations have attrition. You will shrink down to nothing before you know it. You constantly have to be bringing in new, fresh blood. What we did classically, we stumbled on this. We get a speaker of some notoriety, someone that people will want to come out on a winter night, or in the spring, we usually do it twice a year. It brings brings Fairfield people out to hear the speaker, but we put it into the Toastmaster context. Because the challenge is when people hear a good talk and they go, oh, that was very nice, that inside, for most people, God, I wish I could get up there. I got something to say. Expressing ourselves it's inherent. It's like food and water. We got to get it out. Most people are just bound up, afraid to come out of their comfort zones. They're more afraid of looking as it's foolish than taking the chance. So what they see that, and this is what we do at Toastmasters, we invite our friends, we make it as easy, as comfortable, and as palatable for when they're sitting there to realize, hey, you could be up here. This could be you. There's nothing like a buzz or you're speaking in front of a group of people that rapt attention. However, there's a huge responsibility that goes with that, and that's to make sure that you give them due credit for their time, that it's worth their time, and when they walk out the door, they've got something. The worst thing in the world is to just kind of, they felt, man, God, I could have stayed home and watched TV or something. So this is great stuff. Pardon me, I have to leave. I won't be here for this event coming up with Terry. It's gonna be great. What we wanna do is just talk to everybody. And Jean, if you would, you did such a great job of when you sent that email out to me, to all the old Toasties, and tried to get them brought me in, and I see them all over the place. The folks that used to be in the club, and everyone I see now, come on down, to give them time, and they go, oh yeah, it's a fun. We don't see it yet, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We need to maintain this.
Good, thank you, Ron.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
What is it?
Regarding hitchhiker waste, I think we need a marketing piece. I will make something up so we can,
Right.
to leave behind, we give to people we know, so I need some information or some suggestions
Well,
from other people
we
what
have
to
a
say.
We'll have-
Okay,
I know we have a
so
flyer.
we talked about that at the officer meeting. Let me
I
just
know.
tell you quickly, we're running out of time. So I wanna talk to Janet and Terry, maybe just we could do a little huddle afterwards, make sure we're, on the same page. I'll tell you what we did at the meeting, but we have outlined the roles for the special event. Okay, so I wanna just give you some names. If you have, a horrible objection, we can go over that, but we're just trying to put this together, because this happens in 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm gonna be gone, and we just need to have that. So I'm gonna be the Toastmaster. The timer, we're gonna ask Carmen to keep the timer, just timing. It'll be a little different, you won't have a lot, but we'll time the speaker, and we'll just time table topics as well. Table topics master is gonna be Peter. We're gonna have a first person member who's gonna be the first table topics person to just kind of break the ice. Dee's a good yarn spinner, so we're gonna have Dee
I'll
be
bring my
that
yarn.
first person.
I'll bring a roll of yarn.
Yeah, you could. I've been told I'm a yarn spinner, and, all right. Evaluator, we picked Hudaifa. And then we're gonna have the panel, the all-important panel, and this is the most important piece, because this does, like as Ron says, shows that ordinary people can do this and have fun and grow in their own particular ways. On our panel, we have Veda, Hudaifa, Carmen, and Janet. Okay, so like a sprinkling of genders and ages and longer and shorter Toastmasters. And the panel moderator is gonna be Dan. okay? And we could possibly, anyway, I've got one more possible suggestion, but those are our key roles. We've also talked about our refreshments, because we've advertised refreshments. Because we have a smaller club right now, we're gonna have all the members supplement with something they'd like to bring. But we're gonna also put some club dollars in. The club dollars are gonna go towards, Dan's in charge of this, Dan's gonna go to, we think a nice variety of Matt's cookies, you know, just like, we'll have cookies, we'll have a nice big gallon of apple juice, and we'll have some chips, and then, you know, dips, and whatever you guys wanna do. That's our tradition, is that we bring stuff. And, so just be, you know, like veggies with a little, you know, dip that you could, just finger food. We're gonna also have plates and napkins, little plates and plates. And we're allowed to have that at the library, just finger food, but nothing, you know, that's gonna drip and fall like that. So be thinking, yes.
Do you have a suggestion of how many people you should plan to feed with that tray?
Well, that's the thing.
About yay?
We don't know
Right.
how many
So
people
you
are
just-
gonna come.
Yeah.
You certainly can take back something if you brought it and enjoy.
But having enough food's important.
Yeah, it looks better, and it just, you know,
It's
so.
more festive.
So that's kind of where we are with the food, and so let's talk. And actually, Hudaifa, because we had some stuff happen at our officer meeting, so I just want to make sure. Can you huddle just also so we can make sure, since Janet's here? Okay, so we have that. That's the marketing piece. I am going to mention, just for all of the members, is that Hudaifa is in charge of the Facebook campaign, such as we are going to have, and he's going to email all the club members the link, just whatever we need to do, so we can in turn send it out and invite our friends and contacts like that. We'd like to do it sounds like we want to do an updated version of your video, Terry, you know, the thing. And so we were thinking to do it right now. Honestly, you look very cute tonight with your hat and your, you know, you think, but we have the camera, we want to get that done before you leave. Short, just exactly the, you know, the content that you had, if you can remember that, but just like we'll get it done. And then Hudaifa will have that also for dissemination. Alrighty, next week, please feel free to do members at 7515, you know, the Toastmasters clubs, and if you have some ideas, we can put it out there. But anyway, we're starting to shape it up. So Peter and I are going to work on the agenda. We have a standard agenda, so Peter is going to be. We'll just fill that out. But there we go. If you're a table topics master, by the way, Peter, you come up with 2 or 3 questions, develop them, and that's it. Dan, as the panel moderator, is going to check in with those 4 panel members and send you some question options that you can, so you will be cued in advance. You'll be cued in advance as to which question you're going to answer. It's a 1-minute answer. It's not a big, long, extemporaneous thing. It's 1 minute, if that. So max on the 1 minute. But it'll be something like, well, what did you see when you what did you think when Toastmasters was going to be when you started, and what did you find out, and what was pleasant about that, or something. There'll be something you could talk on easily. Okay, that's it.
So we're gonna have a panel.
Yep.
At the end.
Second half of
Second
the
half.
second half after Terry talks.
And who's gonna be on the panel? Or just-
Those people I just mentioned. Hudaifa, Carmen, Veda, Janet.
Okay.
Okay, good. So we'll have fun. It'll be nice. And more next week. All right, so let's go. Thank you everyone for coming. I know we're a little rusty. I mean, I feel it. I think it's a little rusty on how do we do these things. So it's okay. Well, it's in our muscle memory. So we'll be right up and running. So we'll see you next week. Meeting's adjourned.